Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining me in this segment is a registered dietitian and nutrition educator with the St. Louis Dairy Council. It is Kelsey Bentledge. Good morning to you, Kelsey. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing wonderful.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that and glad to have you back here in person today. And we get to talk a little bit about spring and obviously recipes for the month and everything that goes with that. But spring is a time for new beginnings for a lot of things, spring cleaning and other household items, but maybe your diet as well. What are you thinking on your end when it comes to spring and getting you diet ready?
Yeah, so spring's really, like you said, it's that time for new beginnings, but by now, usually people have fallen off that New Year's resolution. I know that I definitely have.
Me
So
too.
it's kind of a really good time to kind of reassess and get back on track and really focus on foods that nourish your body, especially we're entering busy season, with spring and spring sports, spring activities, summer activities, and really just nourishing our bodies and fueling them so that we can enjoy our lives and have as much energy as possible. So as we welcome this springtime, really take inventory of the food that you're eating and think about what can do the most for your body. My favorite quote from a dietitian is pick your foods by the company that they keep. So pick your foods by the ones that have the most nutrient packed density. And I'm from the Dairy Council, so I always talk about the nutrient density of dairy foods, and milk has those 13 essential nutrients that help to fuel your day. So just really thinking about how you can pair those with other nutrient dense foods like fruits and vegetables this spring to give you as much nutrient density in your diet as possible.
And nutrient rich has been generally that topic. And we've got some nutrient rich things that I'm excited to try and do a little taste testing of here in a little bit. But it's really all the things that dairy provides you in terms of your vitamins and gets you those daily values that you need. We've talked about it quite a bit, but some of those products, are also cheap and accessible to you, especially right now with the price of eggs and other things. So when it comes to those nutrient rich foods, what do you want to tell listeners what you mean exactly by that?
Yeah. So, and I always want to tell listeners just to keep in mind that healthy changes aren't a matter of eliminating all the foods that you know and love. So it could be more thinking of an additive mentality, especially, spring, we're adding things into our lives. So adding those nutrient dense foods rather than subtracting our favorite foods from our diet. A lot of times dairy foods pair well with other things like the cheese sauce on the broccoli or the cream in the soup or things like that are just adding nutrient density, but also adding flavor too. So it's really important that we still enjoy our food because food is fun. No matter which way you cut it, but just enjoy those foods, but figure out ways that you can add some nutrients to them and make them even better in the process.
Food sometimes can be so fun, you get in a little trouble for some folks. And so speaking of said trouble, sometimes people have trouble, kind of breaking down their day when it might be best to let's say, get those nutrients or get those certain food types in their diet. What is that breakdown from your end?
Yeah. So, as a dietitian, I always say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So if you're a breakfast skipper, maybe figuring out ways that you can sneak easy breakfasts in the morning, whether it's a yogurt parfait or a smoothie on your way out the door. You could also do things like adding leafy greens and mushrooms to your breakfast eggs to add some nutrients in, nuts and berries on your yogurt or your oatmeal. You could have some avocado on some whole wheat toast with a glass of milk. There's lots of ways that you can get breakfast in that are quick and easy without, having to wake up earlier, because I know that's a big barrier for some people. But it is so important to get that meal in first thing in the morning. And then maybe at lunchtime, figuring out ways that you can sneak in spinach and cheese on your sandwich to make it a little bit more nutrient dense. Add some colorful vegetables to your dinner. When you're making, your pasta dishes, maybe it's a traditional Alfredo that you know and love, but tonight you're going to add broccoli because that's nutrient rich and you're going to get a little bit extra nutrients in there. So, For picky eaters, if you have kids at home that are picky eaters, I have a 2-year-old. He's a picky eater. I think we all know and love those picky eaters out there, but it can be a little bit trickier, but maybe figuring out ways that you can like sneak the vegetables in. Maybe it's chopping them up really small so that they don't even notice that they're in there, or pureeing them and adding them to like I'm thinking of pureeing carrots and adding it to a mac and cheese sauce for kids, because it just kind of blends right in. So there's lots of ways that we can sneak extra nutrition into our diets and just start out the right foot this spring.
For your picky eater, were those some of the things that you were able to use? And is it kind of let's start with maybe the green beans. Let's start with some of those, we'll call them the traditional, I don't know what you call them exactly, but the easy to get behind, the carrots and the corn and the green beans. Do you find that maybe easiest, and then introducing like asparagus and some other things?
He's just totally backwards. He likes the asparagus and hates the green beans, but it just is one big thing with picky eaters is just always put it in front of them. One day they're going to get brave and try it. So you don't have to force them to eat it. You don't have to make a big deal about it, but just always put it there and give them the option to try it. But yes, I find other ways to sneak it in, like in smoothies and soups and casseroles where the veggies are chopped very small. So there's definitely ways to sneak in the nutrition in this era of them refusing the things that you really want them to eat.
And there are a lot of kids that are chicken nugget and French fry kids out there.
Yes.
And so we do need to probably make sure that we start moving them in a different direction maybe as well. What about outside of food? And I know that we're looking at some of the outside of food right here with some kefir, but outside of just food, how are some ways to kind of get that those nutrient rich foods and drinks and stuff?
Yeah, energy drinks and soft drinks and cocktails, they're all so popular right now and trending, and they are delicious, but they are sometimes, those empty calories. So I talked about those, picking your foods by the company they keep, but also picking your beverages by the company that they keep. So a latte that is made with milk is going to be a lot more nutritious than an energy drink that doesn't have all of those great nutrients that milk provides. So just kind of thinking that through whenever you're choosing your beverages, maybe rather than sipping a soda, grab a chocolate milk. Milk has protein and calcium and vitamin D that's going to help you get through your day rather than just empty sugar and calories as well. But of course, these are fun parts of our diet and our day to drink things like that as well. And the big thing is moderation is key. So whenever it's possible, choose the better option, but of course, enjoy yourself too in the process.
All of a sudden, if let's say you have one Coke at the end of the night, all of a sudden that's like a sweet treat for yourself, and you can kind of trick yourself into saying, all right, I know it's not great for me, but it's kind of that end of the day. It's that release a little bit as well.
Yeah.
When I think about, also just not so much with the energy drinks, but also protein, and people are constantly trying to get this for the protein totals and things of that nature. It's almost more cost effective to go the dairy route than to get something like a protein bar or some random little, tube of, a meat stick or something. Like sometimes it's really easier for dairy to boost your protein numbers than it is anything else.
It definitely is. Protein is or dairy is a good source of protein. It is a complete source of protein too. And like you said, it's very cost effective. So if you're working on increasing your protein, whether it's milk, cheese, or yogurt, there's some yogurts on the market today that have 22 grams of protein in them. And to put in perspective what that means, an average female should be getting 45 grams of protein in a day, average male 55. So 22 grams is halfway there if you're a female with just one little cup of Greek yogurt. So, and it's a really great source of protein. So that is definitely a cost-effective way to get your protein needs in if you're struggling in that front.
And hopefully you did it during the most important meal of the day. And all of a sudden, by the time 8 o'clock rolls around, you got half your protein total and also some of those other benefits there as well. Well, Kelsey, we've already taken care of 10 minutes. And before I lose time, let's take our first break. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. And this morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. and Landmark of Taylorville. We'll be right back around with Kelsey Bentledge, nutrition educator, registered dietitian with the St. Louis Dairy Council.
WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. My name is Grayson Bauman. I'm your host, and joining me in this segment is Kelsey Bentledge. She is a registered dietitian and nutrition educator with the St. Louis Dairy Council, and we've been talking about ways people can introduce new foods to their diets and even what time they should maybe do so, and also thinking about some of those drinks, energy drinks and soft drinks that add to those calories as well. But it's not just all about diet. There are other things that play a part in that, like exercise and sleep. Where do you want to take me there?
Yeah, so sleep and exercise are obviously really crucial for well-being, and spring might be a really good time to come up with a new fitness routine. It doesn't have to be, joining some expensive gym or maybe starting some new workout program on your TV at home. It could be just parking further away from the door at the grocery store and walking a little bit more, or maybe taking your dog on a walk, or throwing a baseball back and forth with your kids. Just figuring out different ways that you can get in some more physical activity. And then, yes, sleep is very important. And now that it's staying light longer outside, I think we tend to stay up quite a bit later. So just kind of finding your routine and making sure you're getting your body enough sleep so that you're in peak health. Because whether it's nutrition that you need to work on, or sleep, or hydrating better, there's so many ways that you can help out your health. So just kind of taking a look at it this spring and getting back on track.
And it doesn't mean from the couch to CrossFit. It means, let's do something in between maybe and keep it a little more light. So
Yes.
that's always appreciated too, that it doesn't have to be a massive step or a hurdle to get behind it. Now, Kelsey, for you guys, every time we talk, you've got a new recipe, and this month's recipe, it strikes me as unique. So I'm excited to hear about your personal taste testing of said recipe.
Yeah, so there is a unique recipe. It's a strawberry and spinach brie grilled cheese. So it sounds kind of out there and crazy, but it kind of hits the points with the sweet and savory flavor profile. Also, strawberries and spinach are seasonal fruits and vegetables right now, so they're relatively inexpensive, super nutrient dense ways to get more nutrition into your diet. But it's just a super, super yummy sandwich. And I'm excited for people to try it out this month, because even though it's super unique, it is just like a flavor bomb in your mouth. It also has pesto on the sandwich, and it's just a really good one to keep in your back pocket, and it has all the spring flavors that we know and love. So give that one a try. It's on our website at stldairycouncil.org, and then we also posted it on Instagram as well at STL Dairy Council.
And put a unique twist on that classic, and have a little fun with it as well. Yeah, to me, it's like you said, kind of a flavor bomb, especially if you've got maybe, double the cheese that maybe you might recommend or something. But,
yes.
All of a sudden it's like, okay, that sweet and savory does probably come out well.
Yeah.
Kelsey, what do you think? I think it might just be about time to give one of these guys a try right here. We previewed this a few months ago, and I've been excited to do so. We talked kefir, and tell me a little bit about kefir before we crack this thing open, if you would.
So kefir is a fermented dairy product. I kind of describe it as like a yogurt beverage in a way, but it is. I also describe it as the champagne of dairy, because it has a little bit of an effervescence, bubbliness to it, because it is a fermented dairy food. It has 13 strains of probiotics in it on average. It varies per brand, but there's lots of different flavors on the market. Like today I brought peach and a mixed berry flavor. They're super yum. I think they're yummy. We're going to see what Grayson thinks of them, but they are a great way to get that high quality protein that dairy foods have in, as well as probiotics. So
it, to me, just and haven't tasted it yet, but it looks like a smoothie.
Yes.
Kind of like a smoothie.
It looks like
mix.
a smoothie, and you have to smell it first before you taste it. Okay. That's a very important part of tasting.
You have to like twirl it around the nostrils a little bit.
It's like,
it smells just like yogurt. It smells
like yogurt. Yeah.
I would absolutely drink that. To me, it does. It tastes like a yogurt. It does have that effervescent taste kind of at the end. Hold on. Mm-hmm. This might be a first for the W. I don't know. And it does have that kind of tartness. It does have a little bit of the tartness. But it's
like a little bit of a bite to it at the end a little bit. Yeah.
But to me, this is, if you're getting as much benefit from it, this is a very easy thing to drink in the morning. And the size of it, what is this? This is 8 ounces.
Yeah. They also make them in, half-gallon containers too. And they have plain kefir on the market as well. And that plain kefir, you can work into recipes. Like you could use it on your oatmeal. You could put it in a smoothie, different things like that. There's lots of ways you could work it into a recipe as well. But a lot of people just like to drink it, especially the flavored ones. They're very similar to smoothies, and they're just packed with nutrition.
On a scale of 10, I'm going to give this an 8.2. This for me would be really easy to just pick up and walk out the door with.
Yeah.
And the one thing I kind of like too is that it's not so sugary that they're trying to hide what might be they're kind of doing a little bit of both. I actually really enjoy this. I have the peach flavor right now for listeners out there. And if any viewers are out there, we'll try and shine a little light on the bottle there as well. But Kelsey, thank you so much. We've run out of time, and thank you for bringing this in. I was excited for the taste test. This is actually really good. So I'm impressed with kefir, and I will be trying a little bit more of that here as we move along. But visit stlouisdairycouncil.org and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at STL Dairy Council as well. Kelsey, again, thank you for joining me here on the morning show. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.